Hello, you probably clicked on this video because you're looking for information on how to care for your poison dart frog eggs. I'll walk you through the entire process from egg to tiny frog. Okay, first of all, where do the frogs lay the eggs? In the hobby, especially for the tinctorius, there are the well-known coconut huts with the petri dish inside where they lay the eggs. But they of course can lay the eggs pretty much anywhere you see in the terrarium, right on the bromeliads or on the leaves on the ground. And for the Uphagas, we specially got these little cups here where you can take out something like this. You can check on the eggs and remove rotten eggs. If that is finished and the eggs hatched into tiny tadpoles, the Uphaga parents, the male, transport them normally into the axils of the bromeliad, and the tinctorius frogs, I don't know if you can see one frog, probably not, will take them pretty much anywhere where is water, like an old dirty water dish, a good shaped piece of wood where water accumulates, also could happen in nature, or some nuts with water, or probably not in the hobby because you don't have such big leaves, but in nature also some bowl-shaped big leaves from a big tree or something. So the care for the tinctorius pretty much ends when they take the tadpole into some water. For the Uphaga it's a bit special because they take care of the eggs, they feed the eggs when they take them into the water. So you pretty much don't have to do anything if you've got some Uphaga. For the tinctorius you need to take care of the tadpoles yourself because the likelihood that a tadpole hatches into a frog in the terrarium is small, but not zero. But normally these froglets don't make it to adulthood. So you found eggs and transported the little hatched tadpoles into a little bit of water. Normally you start pretty low on water. On this cup maybe a finger deep. So really nothing too crazy. And as they grow you raise the water. This is my setup for tinctorius tadpoles. I use these little cups, fill them with water, normally nearly to the top. Put a little bit of aquarium plant in, a leaf, a snail that eats algae or poop from the tadpole. And, come on, focus. There you can see the tadpole. He's a little bit older. He already got his back legs. Yeah, and that's pretty much the setup I run for them. I do weekly water changes. Maybe clean the bowl once a month. Normally it takes 2 to 3 months for the tadpoles to hatch into froglets. And that's pretty much it. Regarding feeding, I'll feed the tadpoles every day. Typically a small portion. Come on, go open. I use these pretty small pellets, and the usual amount I use is something like this. And that's every day. So I mainly feed my tadpoles main fish feed. I don't know what the word is for Hauptfutter, but it's the main feed you give your fish, but really small pellets. You can also feed them algae. I saw them nibble on cucumber. They eat bloodworms, fruit flies that fall into the water. They nibble or eat old oak leaves. yeah, you pretty much can feed them anything. They are really the opportunist from the frogs, or especially the Dratfrogs, because the Ufaga tadpoles only eat the eggs from the mother. So yeah, you pretty much can feed them anything. But I've got the best results with fish feed. So it's the time your frog pops the front leg. Normally, come on little guy, I take this out. Normally they stop feeding because they start to absorb their back leg, the tail, and they focus. And you need to tilt the cup because they start to breathe air. So they need a place where they can go on land and go back into the water. If they don't got a part where they can go on land, you could place a little pebble in there as, for example, they could drown. So there you saw him breathe a little bit and go under the water. So this one isn't as far as the other one. He sits by a snail. Come on, little guy. So he pretty much absorbed his tail completely. I lower the water every day a little bit. Come on, can you? There you can see him better now, or not because of the reflections. There, so he nearly don't got any tail left, and that's when you transport him into a little grow out box. So as a grow out box you could use pretty much anything, like your box of candy from the store, poke some holes in the top, or some purposely full built boxes with vents on top where the fruit flies cannot escape. And it's pretty simple. You just put some sphagnum moss on the ground, some leaves, and that's it. Because the first weeks you want to make sure that your frog feeds, so you need to observe them carefully. In this box already is a tiny frog. Maybe we can find him. He is, I think, yeah, he is 2 weeks on land, and he hops away. And now we put the frog with the small tail also in here, and I show you how I do this. For that, I use a little shot glass, but you can of course use anything you want. Put a little bit of water in, the frog in, and then we place it at an angle so he can stay in the water as long as he wants, but he has the opportunity to get out. And that's pretty much it. From now on you just feed them small fruit flies with your calcium and D3 or springtails, and then you watch them grow. When you see they grow and they feed, you can transfer them into a bigger box or in a purposely full built terrarium, not with that much plants, pretty barren, so a ground with leaves, maybe one bromeliad, but I don't recommend bromeliads for the froglets because they hide in there and don't start to feed very well. But you can put a fern, for example, so they've got a little bit of height. Yeah, and for the big boxes you also can just put some sphagnum moss in, poke some holes in the lid, also maybe put a fern in, a water dish, leaves. Yeah, that's pretty much anything you need to know how to raise tadpoles. So that's how I care for my dart frog tadpoles and froglets. If you've got any questions, pop them down below. Also, that's my first intro you saw on the beginning of the video I made. So let me know what you think about that. I'm not quite happy because I've recorded a lot of that with the wrong camera settings, so it's a bit blurry. But besides from that, I wish you a wonderful day and see you next time.